Hello everyone, welcome to Savvy Looks, where I like to take outdated or damaged secondhand furniture and give it a whole new life. This week I'm working on this dated and beat up trunk that I found sitting outside the dumpster waiting for the trash. I completed this project over the summer but still wanted to show you the process. The surface had a lot of deep scratches, gouges, and stains, and the wood grain was covered by this orange finish. To start the process, I removed the hardware and cleaned the whole surface inside and out. So when I started this project, I really wasn't sure where I was going to go. I knew I wanted to refinish the entire surface, but at first I didn't know if I was going to stain it dark, if I was going to keep aspects of it wood, but not all of it. But I went ahead and started by stripping the surface using a chemical stripper and sanding it all down. This process ended up being way longer than you'll see in this video because I tried to be really meticulous while sanding to avoid getting any sanding marks. This meant that I used 120 grit, working my way all the way up to about 400 grit sandpaper to get a really smooth finish. And as I did this, I made sure to go really slowly to make sure I covered all of the swirling marks. So this process ended up being several hours, but oh well. I think this wood is pine, which is definitely not the highest quality wood, and it doesn't absorb stain in the most beautiful way. So I decided to add a clear pre-stain wood conditioner over all the wood, just to ensure that the stain would soak into the wood evenly across the entire surface. To be honest, this was definitely a lot of refinishing work for a piece that's wood grain was pretty but not immaculate. But again, oh well. Next, I went ahead and applied a dark walnut gel stain over the whole surface. At this point, I really went back and forth about whether or not I liked it. After having already spent all this time sanding, I considered painting over the whole thing because the wood really wasn't looking all that special, and I was thinking through all my options, and I was talking with my dad, and he suggested that I add a checkerboard pattern to the top, which I thought was a really great idea. So I went ahead and measured it out. We had to use a spreadsheet to figure out how the different squares would align because there was no way that we could get actually perfectly even squares across the whole top. So technically they are just barely rectangles, and technically the border isn't quite even all the way around, but we figured it out so that it would have the least amount of disproportional sides. To do this tape pattern, I started by taping off the first round of squares, and then later I would tape off the second round of squares. I was really making up this process as I went. But next, I applied a spray shellac over all of the taped areas, mostly so that it would seal the edges of the tape, and therefore the paint would be less likely to bleed under the tape. Then I applied, I think I ended up doing about 4 coats of this Paperie White 1 paint by Melange. Then I was ready to peel up the tape, which was a pretty nerve-wracking process since, again, I was really just making this all up. Moment of truth, see if this worked. I mean, it won't make the checker pattern, it'll just be squares, but we'll see if the taping worked. Oh boy, fingers crossed. Okay. It's pretty good, pretty clean. The problem is some of the corners. So this is the worst square. But I'm gonna try to use the screwdriver to get up some of the bigger pieces. Gotta peel it up. Wish me luck. I feel like I will have commentary. All right, could have gone worse. Okay, first part went okay. Now it's time to see if the checkerboard itself actually lined up to make a checkerboard. Okay, that looks like a checkerboard to me. All right, I'm gonna peel up the border, but look, it worked. I mean, it's not perfect. There's a couple of details I have to fix, but gotta say, it went better than I was expecting. So, booyah! Math. Well, the math was a little dicey, but math in theory. It looks like they're all squares, even though technically they're not exactly squares. Like I said, math is a little dicey. It's okay. At this point, I started cleaning the original hardware using Barkeeper's Friend and water. Then I moved to the inside of the trunk to start making that look better. I decided to sand the surface, clean it, and then apply my same papery white paint color by Melange to the inside, because the inside had some of that really dark red staining that I thought I probably wouldn't even be able to get out with sanding. Plus, I thought the white paint made the whole thing look a lot cleaner and more finished. I applied the same paint to the wooden handles and to the borders around the top and bottom. That way, the whole thing looked a little bit more finished. For the top and bottom borders, I ended up sealing up the tape line using liquid shellac instead of spray shellac this time. Either works. I still had these excess holes from old pieces of hardware, so I tried to fill those with wood filler. Then I used Blend All wood fill sticks to hide the wood filler. I used Varathane Satin Top Coat and my Wagner Flexio 3000 spray gun to seal the entire exterior. I ended up doing a total of 3 coats. I'm gonna use feed in wax on the inside part of this wood because I just think it'll be better to freshen everything up that way instead of staining it. Now it's time to take one more look at where this dated and damaged trunk started right after I got it from the dumpster. And here it is now. This little trunk ended up being more work than I had intended, but I'm really happy that I got to try out this new checkerboard technique. Let me know if there are other similar projects you want me to do in the future, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And I'm also now doubting whether I even did this right. But look, it worked! Yes! Woo! Yes! Yes! I'm pondering. I am now pondering. It's a checkerboard! Oh, excuse me. I just made a lot of weird noises. But look, it's a checkerboard!